the last 2 days, I have slowly gotten this batch of tomatoes down to a spaghetti sauce, pizza sauce. We use ours interchangeably. That being said, today is day 3 of this tomato journey. That's just been how things have worked out recently. I got to use my food mill for the first time yesterday. I absolutely love it. I cannot wait to use it when it comes time to making big batches of applesauce, so I don't have to sit there and peel apples. I am beyond excited for that. It saves me so much time with this batch of tomatoes. Can't wait to see what it's going to do when it cuts down time for my apples. That being said, my goals for today is to get this canned, but I also have to go out to the garden and pick pretty much everything that's ready. We have a frost warning already. It's a lot earlier than what it typically is here in Zone 4B. Our first frost date isn't usually until like mid to late September. However, it is still August. We have like a whole week left of August still, so frost is coming in. I knew it was coming. It's cooled down a lot, hence the sweaters, pants. It's been like 60s, low 60s the last couple of days, and it's supposed to get into the 40s, like low 40s at night for the next couple of days, so we got to pick it all. So that being said, today I want to finish up this sauce. I got it on the stove this morning, added my seasonings to it. I'm just kind of letting it warm up, giving it a couple taste tests to make sure it's where I want it. Then we're going to can everything probably into quart-sized jars. I have all my jars already washed. I just have to lay them out, load everything into both of my water bath canners, and I'm hoping I can get it done kind of rather streamlined here this morning. It's actually already afternoon, but then we got to get out and pick everything. Tomorrow I'm running down by my in-laws and picking up a ton of their extra produce. They told me they're going to have some green beans for me, some more tomatoes for me, and maybe a couple other odds and ends. So I'm going to go down there and take their extras, and then the rest of the week, this is the last week before my kids go back to school, so I want to fit in some fun things with them. But we also have open houses this week, just like real life things that are happening this week as well. So we're going to squeeze in preservation projects where I can. Plus my table is full of things like pickles, lots more tomatoes. I can probably do another big batch of sauce here in the next couple of days. So I think I'm going to wait and see what I can get out of the orchard, out of my garden, plus what my in-laws are going to give me tomorrow, and we'll make a plan on what we're going to preserve everything into probably tomorrow, if not the next day. So I'm going to finish getting all my prep work done for this tomato sauce here. I think it's about where I want it to be, and we're going to get this jarred up, and I'm probably going to need 2 canners for the amount of sauce I have here. So let's just go get going and see kind of what we can actually accomplish today and what everything ends up being.
Wondering how I made this sauce. I loaded my 22 quart roaster pan full of tomatoes. I turned it on and let it cook down with just the tomatoes for probably like 27 hours. Then I ran those tomatoes through my food mill to get it to this sauce consistency. I then put all of the sauce on my stove in this pot here that I'm scooping the sauce out of, and let it continue to cook down for about another hour or 2, and then added in all of my seasonings, my basil, a little bit of sugar, my tomato juice, or my lemon juice rather, and let that come together, and then started putting them in my jars for canning.
What I had left after filling up all my other jars, I'm just gonna put a lid on this and put it in the fridge, and I'll just plan a meal around this. We might do some sort of pasta, pizza. We'll use this over the next couple of days for either lunch or dinner or something. I don't know. I might make some pizza sticks and we'll use this as a dipping sauce or something, but I'm not going to can this. But a 22 quart roaster pot that we filled ended up giving us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quarts of sauce. So a lot of cooking down when it goes to a 22 quart getting down to 7 quarts. So that's what we got off of this round. I'm gonna wipe them, rings, lids, and get them processing. I can't remember how long these process. I wanna say it's 25 minutes, but I'm going to have to double check that. And these are going in the canner.
These do process for 25 minutes for what I am canning here, which are quarts. Went ahead and loaded those in. I absolutely love when I can get a full canner load of whatever I'm canning absolutely love that. So rings, lids, loading these into the canner to get that going. And then I am going to go ahead and run outside with some of my kids out to the orchard, out to the garden, and we are going to do a little bit of a harvest, just whatever was ready. That way I knew what needed to be preserved, what I had, and what I could make out of all of those things. Do a little bit of preservation kind of planning for the week. So we got some tomatoes and some peppers, some more pickles, and then we came in and added those to the bin of produce that we have going on. My oldest daughter also went ahead and harvested some potatoes because this night she had a specific meal in mind. So she got to learn how to harvest potatoes, and then she came in and got those washed up and prepped so that they would be ready for me to make that dinner that she was very excited about. And it was so good. I'm loving these potatoes. I've never grown. I think this is a Yukon Gold. We are really liking those, and I do see myself growing these again next year. Of course, with all the canning going on, we have a lot of chicken scraps. So we're of course always feeding the chickens, pulling those out, and this was a multi-day process here. So this is the next day with a second round of spaghetti sauce going in, and I'm doing something a little bit different with this batch of sauce or pizza sauce, and I will walk you guys through how I'm doing this loaded veggie sauce for pizzas and pastas.
Crazy around here, a lot going on today, but I got back to my in-laws. In my roaster pan, I have another load of what is going to be probably pizza sauce in here. It's mostly cherry tomatoes. I'll show you guys here in a second, but I also threw in a couple bell peppers that I had. I'm going to throw in a small zucchini, and we are going to make this a veggie pizza sauce. That way, when my kids tell me they only want a cheese pizza or something like that, I don't feel bad about it. They can have homemade cheese pizza, and there's lots of veggies packed in here. Like I said, peppers, a couple zucchini in here. And I'm just going to go ahead and let this cook down probably for about 20 hours or so on low in this roaster. And then I'll do the same thing that I did with the last batch, run it through my food mill, and we'll have some pizza sauce. It's mostly cherries. I think I had like 4 gallons of cherry tomatoes. I'm just gonna throw them in here. I've never done this much in one batch, but I've got a ton of big heirloom tomatoes in here as well, so we'll see what we end up getting out of this. Probably not a whole heck of a lot, but here is my makeshift setup. So this is pretty much what I did last time too. Set up the food mill bowl here for the seeds and the skins. I put my trash can down with my pot, the bowl, and I'm just gonna run everything through here. It's gonna come out down here. There's still quite a bit of water in here, or tomato juice. So I am going to run this through the food mill, and then I'm going to put everything in this pot after I wash the pot because it is sitting on top of my trash can, and I'm going to let it simmer on the stove and continue to cook out a lot of that water, and then we will can it.
I would highly recommend getting a food mill if you are making a lot of your own pasta sauces, or you want to make a lot of pasta sauce if you're just getting into gardening. But this is one of those things that your family uses a lot of. Maybe you have a lot of little kids like I do, and pizza sauces and pasta sauces are something you're buying from the store a lot. I would highly recommend a food mill. This saves me so much time. My father-in-law has been processing tomatoes for many years, but actually pasta sauce is not something that they can. It's just not something that they use a lot. So I sent him a video of me using this food mill, and he was just amazed at how cool this thing really is, and how it really cuts a lot of time off for me. In years past, I probably would have spent a couple hours at least boiling and peeling tomatoes, and I timed myself. It took me 7 minutes to run this entire batch through the food mill and get it up on the stove to boil down. So would highly recommend it, and it's not just good for tomatoes. I'll use it in other applications as well.
Pot is full, and I'm going to let this simmer away probably for a couple hours on the stove here just to get out the rest of that water. The first batch I did, once I canned it, I realized I should have let it reduce at this point. There was still a little bit of juice in it. I don't mind that. It's not that big of a deal to me. But I'm going to cook this down just a little bit longer, get a little bit more of that water out of it, or the tomato juice out of it, and then I will add seasonings to it and we will get this canned. I also have Meet the Teacher tonight for 3 of my 5 kids, so we'll see if we get this canned today. It really depends on how long it takes to reduce this down a little bit more and kind of what else the day brings, because I also have other errands I need to run. So we'll see what ends up happening. This might get reduced down and sit in the fridge and I'll can it tomorrow. That seems to be the theme of the week this week, but I'm going to leave the lid off of this so that the water can evaporate as it cooks down, and we will move on with the rest of our day, and I'll just kind of periodically come and stir this down. But for now, while this is cooking down, we're going to get this mess cleaned up right away and take care of breakfast dishes and preservation things that are now dirty on the counter. So that's the plan for at least right now.
Did end up going ahead and putting that sauce in the fridge. This is very early the next morning. I got up with the baby and my big kids were still sleeping. The house was quiet. So I opted to take the opportunity to go ahead and get these in the canner. I also decided that because everything that I had canned thus far was in quarts, I would can some pints. That way, this can really be a veggie loaded pizza sauce, and I'll probably just use these smaller jars. I hope that you guys enjoyed hanging out with me over the course of pretty much an entire week, doing a couple different batches of pizza sauce, spaghetti sauce, processing all of the tomatoes. This is my most used application when it comes to tomatoes. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. It gave you guys a little bit of inspiration for your own canning adventures or your own garden plans, maybe for next year. And I hope wherever you guys are, you're having a fantastic day. I hope that your canning shelves are filling up as it is becoming that time of year. And I will see you guys in another video. Bye.